Sam is now tasked with taking Gilly and the baby somewhere safe. Actually, it's somewhere hot, really, as Craster's wives urged. Take her somewhere hot for a change, they said. Ideally, a nice holiday destination where she can sip rum and forget about her troubles, is what Craster's wives said. We'll fend off for ourselves. We'll be all right. It's kind of like, the women in Mad Max Fury Road. Once, what's his name? Joe is dead. Anyway, so that somewhere hot eventually is indeed where Gilly will end up, going for a while anyway. But we have to wait for a feast for crows to get there. For now, they have put some miles between them and the absolute carnage at Craster's Keep, and Sam reckons, or rather prays, that they might have finally reached the village White Tree, which this place they're at right now may or may not be. We don't know. I mean, we would expect him to be more certain than that. After all, he was in charge of maps when the late Lord Commander Mormont was preparing for the Great Range in North, wasn't he? But right now, the gods only know. We're given a bit more info. White Tree is supposed to be a wildling village, so we're still on this side of the wall. Good to know. And by now, John, the closest POV character to Sam, is on the other side of the wall, although apparently he hasn't yet escaped from the wildlings, as we read in the latest John chapter. He hasn't yet done those things, escaping from the wildlings, the Fens, etc. Or so does the most precise ASOIAF timeline explains. This is the most precise Song of Ice and Fire timeline, which is this spreadsheet you can find online, authored by a certain Private Major. Private Major, I salute you. And the village is called White Tree, the village where Sam thinks he's at right now, but he may or may not be. The village is called White Tree after a massive weirwood tree in the middle, but even that is not a guarantee that this is indeed White Tree. Weirwood. You know what it is, Weirwoods. You've seen one, you've seen them all. I mean, no, but that's not what he's actually saying, but he's saying, they all happen to be very similar and huge, with faces. All right, welcome, dear listener, to the rambling commentaries of an insane person online, yours truly. We're reading George R. R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire, and today we sink our teeth into chapter 46 of a Storm of Swords, Samwell III. So there. Now you've got all the info, let's proceed. So whether White Tree or any other village which happens to have a massive weirwood tree in the middle, this particular village is deserted. All the free folk having joined Mance Rayder, as we know. Yeah. So there. And of course, Sam welcomes, sleeping under a roof for a change. What with his feet having grown blisters, callus, his toes being frostbitten, Yeah, the guy's a mess. He's been walking all this time because the one horse that has survived, that's right, the other one has gone and died on them. The one horse that's still alive is reserved for Dilly, who is still exhausted from giving birth. Oh, by the way, I was getting fed up with not knowing how to pronounce it, Gilly or Gilly. I heard both pronunciations from various other commentators, so I finally looked it up on the pronunciation guide on the Wiki of Ice and Fire, and I'm glad to announce There is no entry for Gilly or Gilly. However, the pronunciation guide does begin with a quote from the author, which goes, George R. R. Martin has stated, I don't have Tolkien's gift for languages, and he also stated that he came not care much about pronunciation. Also about splitting infinitives, apparently. Me being pissy right now. Okay, I came to not care much about pronunciation during college, and that you can pronounce the names of the characters however you like. Characters or places however you like. That is what he said. So there's that. And from now, I've decided I'm going to pronounce it Gilly. There, a name I'm sort of familiar with. At least I have met women called Jill, but never one called Gil. So, moving on. It'd be funny to call your baby daughter Gil. Anyway. Sam. Yeah. Sam reckons it was his weight, really, that did it for the horse. The horse who died of exhaustion. Although you would think, wouldn't you, that by now, after A, running for all those miles and days with the whites at his heels, and B, going through Craster's Keep mutiny with all the mutineers hoarding up all the food for themselves, and C, escaping again on an empty stomach to get to get to this village here, whatever its name may be. I mean, you'd think he would have lost a pound or two by now, surely. But anyway, he chose to walk because you never know. Yeah. Let's give this horse a break. Gilly is much lighter, even with the baby she's carrying. Oh, I was just thinking of something about this Gilly character just the other day, by the way. Yeah, that's right. I'm going back on Gilly. Yeah, that's right. Gilly. Today, I'm all about Gilly. No, but she came to my mind because I was watching a movie, as you do, where Hannah Murray has the female lead role. Hannah Murray, having been cast as Gilly in the HBO TV series, as you might recall, dear listener. And, how often, I often feel sorry for actors. I don't know why I do, but I do. I feel sorry for actors who get typecast after playing some memorable roles. The HBO TV series Game of Thrones being an enormous source of typecasting stories. Because you know how the public is now. How long did it take them to see Lena Headey on screen and stop seeing Cersei? And don't get me started on Jack Gleeson, because he's also a great actor, and it's a shame that he's these actors' full range isn't exploited. So for Hannah Murray, I was thinking, oh, good for her. Good for her. She went and did other things right after Game of Thrones, and I sure hope she doesn't get miscast for the rest of her career as Gilly again. Gilly and Gilly. She doesn't end up playing Gilly in every single product she ends up working in. Because what I mean by typecast is, okay, well, let's look at what kind of role this Gilly is in the HBO Game of Thrones. Okay, so Gilly was a young woman with not much agency, because kind of trapped in a dysfunctional family of sorts, run with an iron fist by a tyrannical man who regularly slept with women under his roof. Okay, right? You got all that? Guess what the movie was? The other movie Hannah Murray was in right after Game of Thrones? Charlie Says. That's right. A movie about the Manson family. She plays, I got it written down here, Leslie Van Houten, a.k.a. Lulu. Yeah, no, I had to look it up. I don't remember all the names of the people involved. But yeah, one of the Manson family women. Need I say more? Young woman with not much agency, trapped in a dysfunctional family of sorts, run with an iron fist by tyrannical men who regularly slept with women under Well, his roof. It wasn't really Charles Manson's roof, but yeah. Need I say more? Indeed. Actually, no, I do need to say more, because the role of Charles Manson was given to none other than, drum roll, Matt Smith. That's right, our very own Daemon Targaryen. And he's unrecognizable. Well, I mean, you would expect that, because he was supposed to look like Charles Manson, not look like Matt Smith. But I mean, to the point that my jaw dropped at the end credits, and I went, what? Wow, where was Matt Smith? He's that good, So Charlie Says now feels like a sort of a Game of Thrones reunion when you watch it. But, okay, which is not saying much, because you watch an episode of The Office, the original Office, the British Office sitcom type thing. And you basically have, you have Mackenzie Crook, a skin changer in a Game of Thrones, Ralph Ineson, an Ironborn. Both characters, by the way, were created specifically for the TV series from bits and pieces of other characters from the book series. But yeah, you watch The Office, and that feels like kind of like a Game of Thrones reunion before Game of Thrones was made. Still, can you imagine Daemon Targaryen as a successor for Craster at Craster's Keep? Injecting his own Charles Manson spin in it. And in fact, in the parallel Ice and Fire universe, there's probably an alternate timeline where a resurrected Daemon Targaryen, I don't know, a White Walker of sorts, has been walking around Westeros for centuries until he found his purpose, heading straight to Craster's Keep, eat Craster alive, and run the commune. Yeah, mate, sorry, I'm a different kind of living dead myself. Don't want none of your babies. No, I want you. And I'm the new Craster now. Huh? What do you think? Plausible? As a what if kind of spin-off? Should I pitch it to no? Well, I'm allowed to dream, aren't I? There, okay. Wow, do I digress today. Anyway, so Samwell Tarly, yeah, that's right, that's what we were talking about. So he's looking around, seeing what he can find in those abandoned houses at White Tree, which may not be White Tree after all. Just in case, while it's Gilly who's taking care of lighting a fire in the hearth of one of those houses. They've established that's how the division of labor should go, since Sam has proven to be a calamity whenever he tries to light a fire. And it's very moving right now. He's taking a closer look at that weirwood tree, and no, it's almost definitely not the weirwood of White Tree. But it's very moving when he decides to fall on his knees and pray to the old gods, because the old gods are his new gods, and vice versa. Ever since he took the oath under the weirwood just outside Castle Black. And let's face it, this is not too dissimilar from Grey Worm's story, when you think about it, with his parents' given name versus his name as an unsullied Grey Worm. Because Sam's reasoning must have been similar. I mean, look, with the 7 gods, it's not like I fared very well, is it? I mean, they were the gods of my fathers, and look where that got me. I mean, we're talking about a father, Randall Tarly, who said to his own son, Matey, either you take the black so I don't have to bear the sight of you one more day, or I'll whack you and make it look like a hunting accident. Nice guy, huh? He said it, incidentally, while he was skinning a freshly killed deer, as far as I remember. A scene that was just too good not to put in the HBO TV series. Except that I figure it would have been a bit too distracting to zoom in on Sam's backstory in season 1, when all viewers' eyes were on Jon Snow. So they kept the deer skinning scenario, but changed the characters. They put the deer skinning sequence as a background for the first encounter in the series, first encounter between Tywin and Jaime Lannister. You can read all about the deer skinning sequence in Jon 4 from book 1. So yeah, in the series, in the book series, it was Randall Tarly skinning the deer. So that's probably where that's probably where Randall got the hunting accident idea. By the way, what do you call a deer with no eyes? Oh, my Christmas cracker joke time. So yeah, on the one hand, 7 gods, House Tarly's ancestral religion, and look where that got Sam. On the other hand, old gods, under whose allegiance Sam found friendship, a brotherhood. Compare Gren and Ed, Ed, Dolorous Ed, urging Sam to leave back at Craster's Keep, going, come on, man, you gotta snap out of it. It's not safe here, Comradeship. Compare that with his own father's attitude. Also, it's under his newfound allegiance with the old gods, new covenant with the old gods, that Sam has found the courage to become Sam the Slayer, even though he's not all too fond of this new stage name. As well as the courage to do these other selfless acts, to save Gilly, the baby, at the risk of his own life. So yeah, I rest my case. The old gods build character, and Sam has no reason for wanting to go back to the 7. I'm sure there are people out there who are just cut out for the faith of the 7, but not me. Thank you very much. Is what Sam is thinking. Having said all that, Sam is still in no condition to be a contestant on like Survivor Island. Those reality TV shows, Survival, whatever, one of those. Because he's hopeless in lighting a fire, hopeless at hunting or fishing, so now their food stock is dwindling. We got to give it time, to reach his full potential. And thinking back on his comrades in arms, Samwell is thinking, I wish one of those proper rangers, like Tywin or Bennett, is it Bennett, the one who died feverish at Craster's? I wish those guys were here because they would find Castle Black, just like that. I mean, the challenge right now is not so much finding the wall itself. I mean, it's 300 miles long and splits the continent in halves, approximately. You keep going south, you can't not find it. It's just that nearly all other gates are shut. You need to find Castle Black. The gates are sealed. Here you go, I got the quote right here. The gates are sealed with ice and stone whenever a castle has to be abandoned. We learned that in Bran 3, this same book. Bran and Sam, both headed towards the wall. Wouldn't it be cool if they eventually... Okay, shut up, Sasa. Shut up. Spoiler. Okay, no, I didn't go through my spoiler policy, did I? Okay, well, it's very complex and articulate. Here it goes. None. There. It boils down to that one word. None. In this series, I'll only be looking back and not ahead. Whatever references I make to other chapters will be references to previous chapters, not to future chapters. So anyway, Sam is now trying to cheer Gilly up, When we get to Castle Black, you'll see. You'll have mulled wine, venison stewed with onions, good old food porn that George R. R. Martin is so fond of. Is very meta, Sam, right now. He's also saying, you get to eat freshly baked bread, so hot that it'll burn your fingers, which I could use some of that right now because as my fingers are freaking freezing. The fire is always burning in the hearth, and it's heartbreaking because Gilly goes, the fire in the hearth. Yeah, that'd be great. Would I be allowed to sit by the fire? Not a lot, yeah? just as long as it took to keep the baby warm for a bit. Because that was kind of like a privilege back at Craster's. Access to the fireplace, access to the TV remote. Yeah. Which reminds Sam that, no matter how hard his life is right now, at least he's a highborn. I mean, he has known better times. Jilly never has. So he goes, yeah, you can sit by the fire for as long as you want, and we'll all be singing Kumbaya. Yeah, I mean, we're not terrific singers back at Castle Black ever since we lost the only former professional singer we had, a guy called Darren. Yeah, we lost him. They sent him to Eastwatch. Yeah. By the way, remember this Darren, right? This Darren, let's keep an eye on him. He's one of those recruiters, what do they call them? Wandering crows. Like, what's his name? Joren? Was it Joren? No, I'm getting those two characters mixed up. What's his name? Harwin. Oh my God. What? No, right now I have to look him up. Wandering crow, Harwin. I bet it's... Yeah, I'm confusing Joren with Harwin. How is it possible? No, Harwin, not Darwin. Anyway, Wandering Crows, let's keep an eye on this... let's keep an eye on this Darren, because we will see him again. We will see him again in A Feast for Crows. He's a former singer, former professional singer, but ended up on the wall, and he's none to please. He's none to please because because he'd rather keep being a singer and maybe scoring with the chicks. You know what I mean? Okay. Look, I'm looking it up now. Be patient with me. Man at Harrenhal. I don't know. I honestly don't remember what's the name of the other Wandering Crow. The one who, basically saved Arya and then got killed by Lannister men. I'm really bad with names right now. Okay, I won't waste your time. Sometimes I have these amnesias. Anyway, so Darren is now at Eastwatch. So we don't particularly excel at melody and carrying a tune, but right now, the best singer we've got is a guy that calls himself Toad. So that should give you an idea of how graceful his voice actually is. What about you, Sam? Can you sing? She asks. Oh well, I don't exactly have my own repertoire. Oh, go on, Sam. Go on. Sing us something. So this is where Sam, who might have embraced the old gods, still remembers that he was, after all, raised in the faith of the Seven. So he learned this song, which he remembers from Sunday school. He goes, all right, well, I'll give you a rendition of this song about the seven gods, yeah? Okay, are you ready? And this is like similarity between the faith of the seven and Catholicism number 357, because every one of the seven here in the song, the mother, the father, the maid, the crone, the warrior, the smith, they all have their own specific areas of, shall we say, protection, patronage, like the saint patrons, Saint Valentine being the saint patron of lovers, Saint Christopher, the saint patron of motorists or something. So Sam sings this religious song which he remembers singing to his sisters, like when he was a child, kind of like a lullaby. And then when his younger brother Dickon was born, he started singing to him, singing the same song to him too. Until, guess what? His father Randall put a stop to that. That's right. Yeah, I will have none of these effeminate septon songs for my actual male son, that is Dickon, not you, Sam, of course. Yeah, none of that. Keep it in the sept, you know? Go back to singing it to your sisters. Yeah, that's kind of like Randall's thing, isn't it? He puts a stop to things. Yes, that's what he does. Sometimes for the worse, sometimes for the better, as we shall see in A Feast for Crows. But we'll get to that when we get to that. And at the end, Gilly goes, wait a minute, whoa. At the end of the song, this doesn't add up, Sam. I only counted 6 gods in the song. You said it's 7. Ah, well, yeah, that's right. But we don't sing about the stranger, you know, because he's deaf. So really, the less we mention him, the better. So they munch on what's left of the garlic sausages and try not to think about the stranger, who may well be lurking behind the next corner. So, you know, better not get on his radar, you know what I mean? So then it's off to bed. But first, Sam has to do a couple of things. First, he has to go out there and take a dump. Yeah, which must have been tricky enough, you know, below 0 temperature. And then he has to get the horse to share the indoors warmth with them, because he doesn't want to wake up the next day only to find a nice sculpture in the shape of a horse, an ice sculpture, not nice sculpture. He doesn't want the horse to freeze to death. That's what I was saying. So he can he brings the horse inside so he can finally sleep, and he loves sleeping next to Gilly because her smells sort of reminds him of a time way back when he was a child, back in Hornhill, when he used to share a massive bed with his sisters until, you guessed it, until his father put a stop to that. I told you. Let's build some character. Let's put him to sleep in a cell from now on, which apparently didn't work. At least Sam gets to be a lord of Hornhill in his dreams. Yeah. You know, in charge. He's in charge. His father is not around, which is great. So he even gets to carve meat with Heartsbane, the Valyrian steel sword that's been in his family for generations. His father would put a stop to that. Oh, there's no way to treat an expensive sword. But he's nowhere to be seen, his father. Not in his dream, in this particular dream. In fact, in this particular dream, he's carving meat with that sword for all his sworn brothers of the Night's Watch. All guests at the table, you know, including Lord Commander Mormont, who's alive in his dreams. And they're all in Hornhill, having a great time, drinking ale, eating meat. They're all there, dressed in colorful outfits, actually, instead of you know, the black Night's Watch uniforms. So everything is jolly in his dream. Sam is having right now. Everything, you know, is just right to the last detail, including the bedchamber where Sam goes to sleep, because it's the same bedchamber he used to share with his sisters. Except it's not his sisters he's about to share a bed with, but Gilly, who's there, you know, waiting in bed, wearing nothing but fur, and then she's all like, "Oh, well, how do you do, big boy?" So there. Ha-ha. Oh, Sam. Great dream, huh? All you need now is, you know what, just some rum, you know, as a nightcap. I know I keep going on about rum, but it's because I'm looking forward to rereading a certain chapter in A Feast for Crows involving Gilly, Sam, and rum. Okay, enough. Shut up. Anyway, the dream was, you know, just too good to be true. Because it wasn't true, for one thing. And Sam wakes up to a scene right out of a horror movie. First of all, the temperature has dropped a lot. And we know what that means. A living dead, or white, W-I-G-H-T, to use the technical term, a white is nearby. And sure enough, there it is. Can't a guy get some proper sleep around here? Jilly's also awake and terrified. She knows that the white is after the baby. I mean, it's just because, holy crap, she has seen this kind of movie before, you know? Craster's Productions. And this particular living dead is none other than Small Paul. And it's a bit ironic because if Sam wants to stay alive, he'll have to kill Paul. But you will remember that Small Paul sort of saved Sam's life back in Samwell I. Well, before he turned into a white zombie. That's right. It was back when Sam felt he just couldn't outrun the zombies, remember? He couldn't outrun the zombies anymore, so he just gave up and lied on the ground. You know, the old trope, you guys save yourselves, I would only slow you down kind of trope. Yeah, that's it. That's what happened. And so he'd fallen in the snow, and all you could say was just, all right, guys, just leave me here. I'll just, die here, if you don't mind. But Gran would have none of that. He was all like, yeah, come on, dude, come on, you can do this, Mr. Motivator. And after a bit of back and forth, it was Small Paul who interjected, yeah, all right, I'll carry him. Yeah, I've carried way heavier loads in my day. Because Small Paul, you'll remember, yeah, he was part of the initial mutiny plot organized by that bitter guy, Chet, all the way back in the prologue of this same book, except that we're not really sure if he actually understood all the ins and outs of this plot. Let's just say that Paul wasn't the brightest penny in the fountain. He was he was a giant, the gentle giant kind of trope. But he was neither good or bad. He didn't wrestle with the morality of his actions. He just did stuff, In fact, the mutineers kind of bought him cheap. They told him, look, if you go along and follow our orders, you'll get to keep Commander Mormont's Raven. The one who talks. You'd like that? And Paul had just gone, yeah, all right, yeah, birdie. All right, I suppose so. I don't know if that's how Small Paul actually sounds, or sounded when he was alive, but there you go. So, yeah, and the mutineers, on the other hand, only really wanted Paul as one of them because he was the strongest man in the watch. So there he was, as I said, not really pondering too much on the ethics of things. He saw Sam in need to be picked up, so he offered to pick him up. There. He just did stuff because. And if you remember, at the end of that same chapter, Sam, Paul, and Gren, they had an encounter with one of the others, capital O, who actually killed Paul. Which is why now Sam tells Small Paul, you can't be here, dude. I mean, you're dead. I saw you die. But Paul is all like, he's a mindless zombie. There is at some point, a fleeting, thought in Sam's mind when he goes, yeah, well, he was never, the quickest guy, even when he was alive. So right now is, and we've given a description of how these whites look after they've been dead a while. A description that we didn't get from that time when one of them attacked John and the late Lord Commander Mormont. When John burned his hand, and then he's been flexing his sword hand ever since. We're given a more detailed description right now because their faces are indeed pale white, but their hands are black as coal because of all the congealed blood at the extremities. So yeah, feet as well, I imagine, all blackened by that phenomenon. And Sam here once again thinks of Jilly and the baby first. So he goes, get the hell out of here, you the baby, ideally the horse too. And what about you, Sam? I've got a dagger, obsidian dagger, dragon glass, whatever. I'll be fine. So funny how Sam keeps thinking of himself as a coward, despite all that. God's give me courage. God's give me courage for once in my life. He keeps thinking. Jilly, in the meantime, is trying to coax the horse out of the house, but she smelled the horse. She has smelled the zombie scent, and she's now out of control, lashing her hooves. Yeah, that's the horse, not Jilly, because she's scared. Well, they're both scared. They're all scared shitless. So Zombie Paul turns toward Jilly and the horse, and Sammy's all like, "Oh no, you don't!" And he stabs him like 400 times until the blade shatters over the iron mole. Why was I thinking of mole? Iron mail. He's still wearing his iron, ring mail, iron mail. So that's no use. That didn't go well, huh? The obsidian blade shatters, at which point Zombie Paul grabs Sam by the throat with hands described as so cold that they could burn, which kind of sounds like the description of dry ice to me. But Sam has no time to think about solid carbon dioxide. Because he's being choked to death and he's just going. He tries a bad impression of Arnold Schwarzenegger when he's in pain. And just like Arnie, I don't know if you remember Schwarzenegger in Red Heat, just the first scene in the sauna somewhere in Russia, where he grabs a red hot piece of burning coal and holds it in his hand, and then uses it as a weapon. Gosh, what an awesome film. Makes me feel like watching it again. Anyway, so Sam does something similar, because while he's wrestling on the floor with Small Paul, he grabs the first thing he can think of, which happens to be a red-hot log from the fireplace, and proceeds to batter Paul's face with it until it catches fire. The face catches fire. And what do you know? Fire actually does work with whites, So obsidian / dragon glass is great with the others, but against these undead guys, you'd better have some fire handy, if I understand things correctly. So yoo-hoo, our troubles are over. Yeah, the face catches fire, the blue in the Paul's eyes slowly, dissipates, wanes. So yeah, our troubles are over. Jilly, oh, well done. You've already gone outside with the horse. Good. And there you are, standing by the weirwood tree. Just you, the baby, the horse, about a dozen other whites, some of them busy devouring the horse's entrails. Oh, that's not good. And neither is the sound of this random alarm clock, which is going off for some reason. That's all right. Things happen. What are you gonna do? Now, okay. So basically, they've killed the Garon, the horse, and they're now feasting on her bowels. So yeah, that's not good. And then, of course, Sam knows there's about a dozen whites around them, and Sam just knows that they're about to, they're gonna be moving on to them next, to Jillian. Well, the baby first, because yummy, but obviously, if Jilly and Sam make some resistance, they'll have to go through them first, and then the baby. So yeah, no, that's not good. That is not. No, seriously, that is not fair. These are literal things that Sam says. That is not fair. No, I'm sorry. No, that's not fair. No. So, and the raven repeats the word fair, as if to say, I think you'll find, my dear Samwell III, that life is seldom fair. You toil and suffer, carrying messages back and forth just for a few corn kernels, and then you die. A raven's perspective we rarely hear. A much-needed raven's perspective. Well, that's right, I forgot to tell you. Small Paul did turn up with a raven perched on his shoulder, pecking at his cheek. He finally got his raven, in death. But no, a dozen whites now surrounding Gilly. He doesn't think he'd be able to handle them. No, that's it, we're done for, he's thinking. There aren't enough burning logs to go around for everybody. And there they all are, blue eyes, sickening pale in the face, sickeningly pale. And, oh, is that you, Lark the Sisterman? Softfoot, Riles, Hake, various wildlings, whose name I don't know. Oh, and Chet. Ooh, fancy seeing you here. Now, both Lark the Sisterman and Chet were part of that original mutiny plot I told you about in the prologue. The one that fizzled out into nothing because of the snow. The falling snow. So we can assume, I guess, that they died at some point. These guys, Lark, the Sisterman, and Chet, they died at some point at the Feast of the First Men. Small Paul, on the other hand, was killed by the other several miles closer to Not White Tree, which is this place, yeah. So this means, dear listener, the point I'm making is that these whites will walk for miles and miles, going round ponds and lakes, let us not forget, to eventually converge together, building up critical mass, as it were, driving the point further home that these guys should not be underestimated, that the whites' danger should not be underestimated. So yeah, Sam, Gilly, and the baby are indeed in trouble. And then he hears the dark red leaves of the weirwood rustling, whispering to one another in a tongue he doesn't know. Now, this could just be an auditory illusion, rusting of leaves, but it's worth remembering that according to the old gods' religion, the souls of the dead end up living in weirwood trees. All weirwood trees being connected in a sort of a network. So make of those whispering voices what you like, but is it a coincidence that all ravens perched on the branches start attacking the whites all at once in a coordinated attack? Because, there's like hundreds of them. Which really, if I remember my zoology classes, briefly covered in passing by my science teacher back in my school days, if they are hanging around in their hundreds, then they're not ravens, are they? They're crows. Isn't that right? You don't see murders of ravens, do you? Murders of crows, yes, but I don't know. I might be wrong. I don't know. Because, there's like hundreds of them, and they're all attacking the whites right now. So the movie right now quickly strays into a different sort of subgenre of horror. Night of the Living Dead by George Romero turns into The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock. Which is funny when you think about it. Those two films scream of two completely different historical eras, but really, they only came out barely 5 years apart of each other. Yeah, I thought I'd point that out. So, and is it also a coincidence that the raven, the one on Sam's shoulder, the original raven, is egging all the other birds to attack? Go, go, go! It's going as if to say, kill them all! And notice how selective these birds are in their attack, because they're exclusively focusing on the living dead, not on the living alive. So Sam figures, okay, no time like the present. Drilly. Looks like we're off on the march again. Yeah, but where? And without a horse. Yeah, you're right. And this is when they hear him. The good zombie. Yeah, that's right. There are also good zombies in this universe. They hear him say, brother. Brother. I bet he's a muffled voice, I bet. Because, yeah, but here, I want to read you the passage. It's worth reading. He goes, brother, there it is. The shout cut through the night, through the shrieks of 1,000 ravens. Beneath the trees, a man muffled head to heels in mottled blacks and greys sat us astride an elk. An elk? Oh. Here, the rider called. A hood shadowed his face. He's wearing black. Oh, I'm getting better at this. He's wearing black, sir. Sam urged Jilly towards him. The elk was huge, a great elk, 10 feet tall at the shoulder with a rack of antlers near as wide. The creature sank to his knees to let them mount. Here, the rider said, reaching down with a gloved hand to put Jilly up on the elk behind him. Then it was Sam's turn. My thanks, he puffed. Only when he grasped the offered hand did he realize that the rider wore no glove. His hand was black and cold, with fingers hard as stone. There. And this is where Samwell III ends. And you see, this is why we were given those details. About the whites having cold, dark and cold hands, because we are now told that this mysterious stranger who rescues Sam and Jilly is a white, is a WIGHT. So what do you make of that? Would you believe it? Can you actually hear the ravens just outside? Wow, this is an eerie, scary coincidence. Anyway, so yeah, who could this mysterious stranger be? We are wondering, but we'll find out soon enough. And I look forward to reading you the next chapter, which is, let me have a look. Aria. Oh, back to Aria. Oh, right, that's right. I remember. Okay, well, speak to you soon. If you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to do all of the things, and or not, and speak to you soon. Bye.